All right, what's up, everybody? Before we jump right into this podcast with Greg McHale from Greg McHale's Wild Yukon TV, we got a couple housekeeping things we need to take care of. Now, we cover some timeless information about moose hunting in this podcast. We also cover some time-sensitive information. The time-sensitive part, entering to win a moose hunt where you get to go hunt moose with Greg in the Yukon. But you got to know when you need to do that by, and that's July 27, 2022. July 27, 2022, go to moosehuntgiveaway.com, get your name in the hat. All the details are right there, everything you need to know. Get them there, and without further ado, listen to the podcast. What is up, everybody? We have 10 minutes-ish to talk with Mr. Greg McHale of Greg McHale's Wild Yukon TV, one of the best outdoor television shows out there. I'm going to say that, Greg, and that's not just because you're here. But we're really glad to have you here visiting with us.
Well, thanks, Mark. There's a lot of television shows out there, so I really appreciate that. It's great to be here. I really appreciate you guys inviting me to come down. You know, Carl and I have had a great time since we got here, and we couldn't say thanks anymore. Appreciate it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. We just wrapped a different podcast where we mentioned we polished off some sheep burgers earlier today, which were delicious. But we're not going to talk about sheep this time. We're going to talk about moose and moose hunting, Yukon moose hunting, and how that's right, after hearing how cool moose hunting is, could potentially win a hunt. Where Greg will be the guide, and who's it with again, Greg?
Yukon Stone Outfitters.
They're pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. There's good moose country in there. So it's going to be an awesome trip. And as far as moose hunting goes, I think that most people might know that I do a lot of sheep hunting, but and sheep hunting is number one, but it is closely followed by moose hunting.
Like, I know how much you love sheep hunting, and so to hear you say that it's a close second is like you really love moose hunting.
Yeah, there's something about being in the fall time and the leaves, the colors, the romanticism of it all, and then you got these moose and they're in the rut and they're just like these big monsters just coming through the bush, and you're calling them and you're bringing them in. See, that's the difference. Like sheep hunting, it's all spot and stock. You go to them, but when you got a 1,200-pound animal that you're calling and he's coming to you, and you get up close and personal. Like I've arrowed moose at 5 yards before, and it's just like these things are huge, and you want to have the hair stand up in the back of your neck. Get close to a big moose, and that'll do it.
I believe it. I've gone moose hunting once with some really good buddies of mine, and you see on TV shows like yours, and I bet it's even for you when you stand over one, but people stand over one for the first time, and the first comment is like, it's huge, it's so big. But the scale, and I wasn't prepared for it, the scale of everything about them is so next level, you can't even fathom it, and even when you're standing over them, you can't really fathom. They're like prehistoric. It's like standing over a dinosaur.
Yeah, it's a great experience. It's an amazing experience, and then when you get to do it in in places like the Yukon or Alaska, where they're the biggest moose,
right?
We've got the biggest moose in the world,
biggest, a big animal already, and then the biggest of the big.
And then you put it in a setting where the mountains are beautiful, and you're in the middle of nowhere. Like you're in places where there is no one coming. It's up to you, right? And you put all of these things together, and it becomes an experience of a lifetime. And that's why, I live there, and it's a yearly pilgrimage that I would never miss. It's that there's something about moose hunting, and the camaraderie during a moose hunt is different than sheep hunting, right? Yeah. It's because it's not as physically demanding, generally speaking, and the days are. Like we have a night where sheep season in August, it's daytime the whole time, and you can hard charge from, 4 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Oh, you would never do that, would you?
No. But, and then, in moose season, there's time to sit down. There's time to have a fire. There's time to do all those things that is what hunting is about as well. So that's for me what, I get the the hard charge. I get the physical demand that sheep hunting requires in August, and then not that I don't sheep hunt in September, but certainly come the rut of moose hunt, it's a different experience in, equally as beautiful place. So, I can't say enough great things about moose hunting and how, it's one of those, once you need to do it.
Yeah.
And once you do it, it's just like they say about sheep hunting. You do it once and you're going to be hooked.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talked me into it. And one thing that you brought up was like the colors, though. Like, I think that's hard to, like you said, I guess you just have to, and I've only done it the one time, but one of the things that stood out to me were the colors, and I got to watch all the wild blueberries go from green to red in a week. And that stands out as one of my favorite parts of the hunt, making fires with my buddy, BS and drinking coffee, glassing for hours.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's why we hunt, right? We hunt for many different reasons, but certainly the camaraderie of it and having these great experiences with your buddies is really what brings me back year after year and hunt after hunt. Yeah, there's so many different reasons, but ultimately it's about getting away from it all.
Yep.
And experiencing that with friends in an amazing setting. That when we talk about colors, like in the Yukon, like we have a window. We have a window of opportunity of where it goes from green to brown. And that 2 weeks that you get in there is moose, generally the peak of the moose rut. And if you're out in it, you get to experience a pretty spectacular time.
I've got a long sleever on here, but I've got chills, Greg. It literally chills because it sounds like pure magic.
Yeah.
Like it just like what you're describing is just like pure magic. What are a couple you mentioned calling. So what would be like a typical moose hunt be like for you? I mean, you described like a lot of what's going on, but like from a tactic standpoint, what are some things that you're always considering?
Yeah, well, depending on where you're hunting, what time of year you're hunting. Like I end up hunting moose post rut a lot.
Okay.
Which is not what I just described. It's the romantic,
right? Because
it's often snowing and we're up to our knees in snow in post rut. But certainly during the rut. You're up early, you're out in your spot before daylight, is the idea. Get up there and call. There's a lot of obviously factors that go into picking a place to call and all of these positioning yourself to where you can I really enjoy getting some elevation and calling from elevations where I can actually see something.
Okay.
Because I love sitting behind glass.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can see it, I know I can get it.
Yep.
And otherwise, my a few years of shooting under my belt and my hearing isn't as awesome as
I'm right there
as
with
I wish
you.
it was. So I have to rely on my eyes and having some elevation and casting that call out over top of the land certainly has proved well for me.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. And like you mentioned, casting the sound from that elevated position, you're going to be able to get a little more range with it, and I guess as opposed to being like kind of buried in the thick stuff where it's just not going to cast out that good.
And sometimes it's you're finding yourself depending on the location. If you're lake hunting, you're sitting on the shore, and often I'm casting down shore or across a body of water. You start throwing it back into the bush, and it just dissipates. And so it's if I can, I'm in the country where I can get elevation. And I can see something. That's my ideal moose hunting spot. Like kind of alpine lakes, those kind of things are really where I enjoy it. And then you get to see the mountains and yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, you talked me into it. You talked me into it again. And my gut would tell me, Greg, that we've talked a few other people into wanting to moose hunt as well. It probably doesn't take much, actually. How can a person enter to win that hunt that you were describing earlier?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we've teamed up with Kuyu.
Okay.
We got Gunworks, Really Right Stuff, and Yukon Stone Outfitters, and Trophy Profile. So all of us have teamed up, and we've put together this moose hunting giveaway package, and you can just sign up at Moose Hunt Giveaway. It's that easy.
MooseHuntGiveaway.com.
That's it.
Even I can remember that one, Greg. And don't be.
I almost forgot.
I'm probably ineligible in some capacity, which is unfortunate.
Yes, you're definitely ineligible.
Yeah, that would probably. That'd be a bad look.
I think your team made sure that they put in the fine print. Mark Boardman ineligible.
Yeah, it doesn't say like Vortex employees.
No,
it just says my name. But moosehuntgiveaway.com.
And what we're gonna do is whoever wins that thing is we're gonna tailor the hunt to you. We're gonna make a decision whether it's gonna be a horseback, whether it's gonna be a lake hunt. We're just gonna sit down and whoever the name out of the hat, whoever wins it, we'll have a chat and we'll kind of. We'll put ourselves in the best position to be successful, and it's going to be an amazing country, and I'm going to guide it, and we're going to have a blast. That's all there is to it. Period.
That sounds.
And we're going to be successful.
I like that. I like that confidence. Well, awesome. Everybody out there, if you've ever dreamt of going moose hunting, or we talked you into it, like you said, we twisted your arm. Go to moosehuntgiveaway.com, and you just might find yourself on a hunt with Yukon Stone Outfitters and Mr. Greg McHale, one of the best Yukon hunters I know. I don't know.
Am I the only Yukon hunter you know?
Greg, I told you I'm in marketing, okay? It's all in how you spin things. All right. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for everything. It's so awesome having you here. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Sign up. We'll catch you on the next one.